Okay, it's 5 o'clock. We'll call a Board of Adjustment meeting to order. Start out with roll call. Lister. Here. Anderson. Here. Wayne Ryan. Here. Franklin Hahn. Here. Here. Okay, we read the public notice. Hearing notice and receive the staff report.
Notice of public hearing. Please take notice that an application was received from the following persons for a variance of setback requirements. Mark and Lisa England, Page Subdivision Lot 003, Block 001, Section 9, Township 104, Range 4, Houston County, Minnesota, Parcel 080828000. The Crescent Township 1. Variance of setback requirements to reduce rear yard setback for existing structures, Section 15.8 Subdivision 1. Second one, variance of setback requirements to allow an accessory building to be located within 8 feet of the rear lot line, Section 2914 Subdivision 1, subsection. The hearing on this application will be held at the Houston County Commissioners Room, City of Caledonia, Minnesota, at 5 p.m. on Thursday, September 28, 2023. All persons having an interest in the matter will be given the opportunity to submit comments relative to the granting or denying of said application. Comments should be mailed to the Environmental Services Department, 304 South Marshall Street, Caledonia, Minnesota, 55921, or emailed to martin.herrick@co.houston.mn.us. It must be Wednesday, September 20th, 2023. Comments in regard to the petition received by this date will be part of the public record and will be made available for review by the Board of Adjustment prior to the meeting. Houston County Board of Adjustment by Martin Herrick, Zoning Administration, advertised September 18th, 2023.
Okay, thanks, Martin. Okay, Mark, would you like to, Mark and Lisa?
Thank you, gentlemen. I do got two documents that I was going to share with you. Letter from my neighbor that his property, something the setback of ours. Which would concern the shed. The other document, a copy of the permit that I received last year. And I'm sorry, gentlemen.
No problem, take your time.
And which together with legally not compliant, I guess.
Thank you.
I don't know what all Martin plans to present to you, but I guess just the comments that I would have. Obviously, there's two variance requests before you. One is regarding the rear setback for our house. Obviously, errors were made when it was constructed 32 years ago. It was built in 1991. My wife and I didn't build the house. We're the third property owners of it. And this just came to light now when we applied for a permit to add on to our garage. So my wife and I request that the variance be granted on that particular subject. Regarding the shed within 8 feet of the property line, the shed was placed there approximately 32 years ago. According to neighbors, the shed was placed there shortly after the house was constructed. I spoke directly with Bob Bagelin, myself, who would have been the zoning administrator for La Crescent Township back then. And he advised me that back in the early 90s, that he felt or believed that shed would have been placed in compliance with the current zoning laws then. It was under 200 square feet, and it was a movable structure, a non-permanent structure. So therefore, it could be placed all the way up to the property line, according to him and what the zoning regulations would have been back then. So from my perspective, I feel it was placed there in compliance with the zoning regulations at the time. And then since the county out of compliance as far as the setback rules.
Are there any, just curious, any other buildings real close by? What's the closest build back from the, is it mostly an open lot or?
It's an open vacant lot, yeah,
I mean, that's
between,
what I was thinking about when I looked at Beacon. if I remember.
yeah, between us and Charlie Hinders.
Yeah.
And he would face County 6. I don't know the distance of that lot,
Right.
but anyways, and that's landlocked. I don't know that anybody could even build there. So
Who owned it?
Charlie Hinders. And that's who you've got the letter from.
Mhm.
To my knowledge, the county has never received a complaint on the shed being placed where it is. You have a copy of a letter from Charlie Hinders, who would be the neighbor that abuts that property. And he states in his letter that he doesn't have any issues or concerns with the shed being in its current location. We also have a copy of the permit that was issued last year in which it was deemed legally non-compliant. We have tried to purchase additional land from Charlie, purchase a portion of that vacant lot. He's not interested in selling. And I guess as far as the rest of our property, there really is nowhere else to move that shed to. If we moved it to the east, it would be in violation of the side setbacks. And if we moved it to the west, then it would be interfering with our septic and drain field. So it's really no other place to put it. So we'd request that you grant that variance as well.
Okay, is there any questions from the Board of Adjustment members?
In 91, when they issued this permit or said it was all right in Crescent Township, I'm assuming they were following the county ordinances at that time?
It would have been the Crescent's
No,
township's ordinance.
they had their own zoning ordinance. And wouldn't be comparable to the counties then? Yeah, I
Pretty
mean, it's
close.
supposed to be comparable.
Well,
they can be more restrictive, but not less. But I don't know what the county was then.
there was definitely, as Mark alluded to, there was definitely some discussion on what constitutes a structure. I think that might have been what Bob might have been talking about too, was just that the smaller buildings, they didn't necessarily consider them to be a structure, so they didn't necessarily see they're permitted. And so
Yeah.
there's kind of this nuance that goes along with that. And then the other thing that Mark alluded to is that in our code, it's not a through lot, as they would define it, like you're talking about what's in back of it. And so that also lends itself to saying, okay, you can encroach into the setback distance. But you also have the situation in the outline in the report packet that we have the 8-foot requirement. You can get into the setback, but you can't go up, the 8 foot is as far as you can go to the property. And so that's what this is about, is to just, so that it can go that extra distance.
Any more questions from the board?
I
Okay.
think, like you said, it's the only place you can put it.
Yep.
It's already been put.
Yeah.
We have a number of these.
Oh,
I mean, it's not their fault.
So is there any comment from the public? Any additional questions? Any general discussions? Okay, let's review the findings of the fact.
Number one, the variance is in request. The variance request is in harmony with the intent and purpose of official controls. Staff analysis: the dwelling and accessory structure are allowed in the residential district. The orderly development in the residential district is a priority of comprehensive plan.
Okay. Each member Do we vote on this or we all in
Yeah.
favor say aye?
We should,
Yeah, just do this.
you
blanket.
can do a voice vote or I can.
No, just do a voice.
Roll call.
Okay, no problem.
We don't.
Ken Visker,
Yes.
Ken Anderson,
Yes.
Ian Monaghan,
Yes.
Frank Von
Yeah,
Halen, Larry Hatt.
yes. We don't need to go every number, do we?
Should.
Well, we could
have to
do
have
a
vote
voice,
if we could all do
Yeah,
it,
oh, you
all
can
in
do-
favor to say.
You can
aye.
do-
Yeah.
Absolutely. You don't have to-
So I can all in favor say aye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
correct.
yeah, that's,
Yes.
yeah,
That's what I'd like.
all right, thanks.
Number two, there are practical difficulties in pollution controls and the proposed use of the property is reason. Economic considerations alone do not constitute practical difficulties. Staff analysis. Creating a larger setback between the structures and the rear property line would involve the acquisition of additional land, which necessitates a willing seller. The applicant has unsuccessfully tried to purchase additional land in the past.
All in favor say aye.
Uh,
Opposed? Carries.
Number three, the variance requested due to special conditions or circumstances unique to the property and not created by the property owner. Staff analysis, the house placement created a non-conforming parcel at the time of construction, which was not created by the applicant.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Number four, the variance cannot be alleviated by a reasonable method other than a variance, and the minimum variance which would alleviate the practical difficulty is sought. Staff analysis, the board may find that the variances related to the existing dwelling and the accessory building are the only way to feasibly resolve the setback issues, and that the variances to the rear yard setback for the dwelling and the variances to the rear lot line for the accessory building are the minimum variances that would alleviate the practical difficulty of limited buildable space on the property.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Number five, the variances will not alter the essential character of the locality nor substantially impair property values for the public health, safety, or welfare in the vicinity. Staff analysis, granting the variances will not have a negative impact on the criteria listed above. Additionally, the proposed garage addition is not anticipated to have any effect on the above criteria.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Number six, the request is not a use variance and shall not have the effect of allowing any use that is not allowed in the zoning district. Permit a lower degree of flood protection than the regulatory flood protection elevation, or permit standards lower than those required by Minnesota state law. Staff analysis, the granting of the variances to the rear yard setback requirement in the residential district does not conflict with any restricted uses. There is no mapped floodplain on the parcel. There are no known state standards applicable to this.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
I move we approve the findings.
I'll second it. Okay, there's a motion to approve. Is there any more discussion on this? Okay, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Then the conditions are actually given the distance recommendations.
Make a motion to grant the variances as printed here.
And well, and actually it should be 30 feet, not.
Yeah,
20 feet.
yeah,
we got
correct,
that.
it's for that.
Good deal.
I second that.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. You got
That's
your
it?
variance.
Well, that's it. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, and then do I get a copy of it or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're finding.
All right.
Yeah, yeah.
Now do we have to wait?
We probably
Yeah, we gotta
should,
wait by-
especially for the final, we should do a roll call.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, for the variance.
When we,
itself?
we grant the variance, we should ever roll call.
Okay, yeah, that's probably
Right.
true.
That'll be, it's okay.
I mean, it's all right.
Yeah.
There is no requirement unless you have someone opposed, really.
Yeah,
And you still could do that, I guess if somebody does want to, isn't comfortable about it,
Yeah.
we could call for a roll call vote at any time.
Right, right.
yeah, that's a good point.
But I think on most of the findings, unless there's significant discussion
Yeah,
about. one,
Right, yeah.
They do
then
this to
I think
voice.
they may unanimous-
Yep. Yeah, when it's kind of. Weird. At least that one.
So want to take care of the minutes?
Yeah. And that gives you
You
the.
wanna run through the minutes quick?
Good idea.
Get that done with?
I move we approve the minute.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carries.
What do you like?
General discussion. Got anything to discuss?
There are a lot came in, the board of, the planning commission will have an interesting one. That, we're not looking at the subdevelopment on Pine Creek. So I'm gonna make sure that people in the audience understand that that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about additional use permits for the other side of the road. So it's like, there are distinctions, so.
So it's one house on the quarter.
But what's interesting about parcel on the other side is he has 2 quarters. And the one spot that's buildable out of all of one on each side. Nope, got 4. 3. And Jim Weezer brought up an interesting idea. We're talking about setbacks.
Mhm.
And the idea of like an administrative variance.
Yep.
Or he brought up the issue of what if you get the situation like we had with one of the quarries, where there are situations where both sides aren't bothered by the idea that there's encroachment. And it's kind of like, could that be a consideration too? Especially like in a common mind, where you're moving thought. But one of the things that if there was neighbors that weren't objecting to each other,
Right.
would that be a factor that could
Well,
also be given
And
consideration?
the thing about the quarter, if you're, sometimes you half quarter and half quarter, which still, if you change to where the quarter is.
You gotta be careful on that.
I mean, but yeah, I know, that's,
Well, you can't change that.
Yeah, those 4 points are fixed.
yeah. But you know what I mean, you're on the far corner of one and, that type of thing, and,
Oh, yes,
and all of a sudden,
that can
and
be,
you're at least a quarter of a mile away for the next one.
it can be astoundingly different. Yes,
Yeah.
what can happen with that is,
But as far as administrative variances, I like it, where if it's an open quarter or distance.
or, just you're able to apply judgment.
Right, I like to see more flexibility. I don't think we need to have all these hearings. If we
There's a
can
lot of
avoid it.
There, yes.
Yeah, it's an unnecessary expense, really.
Right. But that, going through that process has to be approved by the county board at some point
Yeah.
in the
Well,
adjustment
I
of
want-
the,
I want to,
where it's done, once the process is done.
what I'm wondering about is the state,
Oh,
if they'll let us do it.
oh,
I'm
sure.
pretty sure the board will probably say.
Oh,
okay,
I'm sure the board would,
But it's like,
yeah,
how much flexibility are they willing to give you in terms of that kind
Right,
of stuff? So it's like, I'd like to know that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, we'll pursue it. We may not get in, but
Okay, it's 5:20. Hearing variance application for Prairie Highland LLC. Martin, would you tell us about it?
Okay, the notice of public hearing, please take notice that an application was received from the following persons for a variance of ordinance requirements. Prairie Highland LLC, the eastern half of the northeast quarter and the eastern three quarters of the north half of the southern half of section 17, township 102, range 4, Houston County, Minnesota, parcel 04-0050-000. Crooked Creek Township, variance to reduce township road setback for an existing dwelling, section 14.7, subdivision 3. The hearing on this application will be held at the Houston County Commissioners Room, City of Caledonia, Minnesota, at 5:20 p.m. on Thursday, September 28, 2023. All persons having an interest in the matter will be given the opportunity to submit comments relative to the granting or denying of said application. Comments should be emailed to the Environmental Services Department, 304 South Marshall Street, Caledonia, Minnesota, 55921, or emailed to martin.herrick@co.houston.mn.us. Must be received by Wednesday, September 20th, 2023. Comments in regard to the petition received by this date will be part of the public record and will be made available for review by the Board of Adjustment prior to the meeting. Houston County Board of Adjustment by Martin Herrick, zoning administrator, advertised September 18th, 2023.
Okay, so we have the applicants up here and your name is
Joan Heimwell.
Jane Hine,
Tracy Heim.
Tracy. Okay. Would you like to comment on what's going on?
We bought the property in 1984 and this shed was built prior to us owning it. It's built in 1970. So just that we didn't put it there, but I use it.
And you need to clear that up so you can get the, with the permit to put the tiny house.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So when it was built, that was before ag buildings required a permit, right?
This does have this was, the mobile home got an initial permit in November of 1984, and then it was replaced with a new one. At least that's what we're showing.
A new,
in,
a different one.
in 2005, right?
Yes.
But the ag building there, the shed was built prior to the requirement for
That was 1970,
70, so.
and would have been.
The setbacks were still required, but
They
there
were.
were probably very little people paying attention to.
Oh,
what
yeah,
it
no,
was,
it's.
Because you didn't need to have a permit from anyone, so you built it where it thought it was right.
The other thing that we did look for is we did try to find out if the road happened to be platted after the farmers there. It wasn't, it was in the
Yeah.
60s. So we checked that too, to see if the road had been put in after. It wasn't.
Just for my information, this is, the mobile home's occupied?
No, and it's the shed that's too close to the
No, but I
road.
mean, is the mobile home occupied?
No,
Also
Oh,
no,
it's not, so this will be the only occupied structure, the tiny home.
when it's built in the future, yeah.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
I didn't know if they were allowed two on that, but
Oh, no, the-
obviously not.
But you're allowed, and the tiny home will be a dwelling.
Right.
So the dwelling gets all the amenities, and you actually would be able to do a cabin in addition, but that wouldn't have amenities to it.
What's the status of the mobile home?
The mobile home will go,
Oh, that's gonna go,
Yeah.
okay. Gotcha,
Gonna
had
put,
nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
I needed-
No, it's good.
I needed,
gonna put the tiny home in the same spot.
We're still thinking about it. It's very early stages versus getting the permit and then we'll do some thinking.
When they get a permit, that's right in the permit that the mobile home has to be removed. Is that correct or am I
It will.
wrong?
well, the building permit. Well,
That's what I meant.
Okay, any other questions from the board? Is there any comments from the public then? Okay. Board members, any more general? Okay, how about review the findings of the fact?
Number one, the variance is in Variance request is in line with the intent and purpose of official controls. Staff analysis, the structures are allowed in ag protection district. The structure supports commercial agriculture, which is a goal of comprehensive plan.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Number two, there are practical difficulties in complying with the official controls and the proposed use of the property is reasonable. Economic considerations alone do not constitute practical difficulties. Staff analysis, creating a larger setback between the structure and the road is not practical. Relocating the building or changing the road alignment are not practical.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Number three, the variance requests are due to special conditions or circumstances unique to the property and not created by the property owner. Staff analysis, the property was purchased with the pre-existing special.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Number four, the variance cannot be alleviated by a reasonable method other than a variance. The minimum variance which would alleviate the practical difficulty is sought. Staff analysis, the board may find that the variance related to the existing structure is the only way feasibly resolve the setback issues, that the variance to the front yard setback is the minimum variance that would alleviate the non-compliance.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Number five, the variance will not alter the essential character of the locality nor substantially impair property values or the public health, safety, or welfare in the vicinity. Staff analysis, granting the variance will not have a negative impact on the criteria listed above.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Number
Carries.
six, oh, sorry. Six, the request is not a use variance and shall not have the effect of allowing any use that is not allowed in the zoning district. Permit a lower degree of flood protection than the regulatory flood protection elevation, or permit standards lower than those required by Minnesota state law. Staff analysis, the granting of the variance to the front yard setback requirement in the agricultural protection district does not conflict with any restricted uses. There is no map floodplain on the parcel. There are no known state standards applicable to the request.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Okay,
I'll make a recommendation. I'll make a motion that we accept the findings as presented.
Second,
Do you want to do a roll call on that? You were talking. earlier.
yeah.
Yeah.
We gotta do a roll call on this one or the next
You
one?
want,
Both.
Last, both, okay,
you want to do it on both?
both.
Ken Visker?
Aye.
Ken Anderson,
Aye.
Wayne Ryan,
Aye.
Franklin Hahn.
Aye. Yes.
Okay, any further discussion about the motion?
I'll make a motion. We grant the variance. Shall I read it?
I'll.
Yeah, go ahead.
Proposed motion to grant the following variance, variance of 29 feet to reduce front yard setback requirements for an existing agricultural building.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Right, then a roll call
again, Ken Visker,
aye.
Ken Anderson.
Aye.
Wayne Ryan,
Aye.
Franklin Hahn.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Okay,
Yeah,
the
thank
variance
you.
is. You win.
Thank you. You don't know yet. The first step is done.
Where are we in?
I ran to a farm where they got a tiny house on it. And it is tiny. I never been in it, but it is tiny.
Is that right?
Good idea.
I mean, I'm not knocking, I'm not saying.
Don't they make them about the width so you can actually roll down the road, so like
That's probably true. I do
8 or 9
not.
feet at the
I think it's bigger than that.
highly wider than that?
Yeah, when they, well, I'm just thinking of the, like the Wick homes. and the-
Oh, yeah.
you know,
Yeah, that's
they
true.
build- I think those are like 14 or something.
It kind of sets the.
Yeah, I think they are.
You wouldn't have so much floor to scrub, you know, in these old houses like I live in two-story with 5 bedrooms upstairs.
I would have doors on both sides so you can do the.
Well, the wind could blow it out.
Yeah, make sure it's north and south, so you just open the windows, open the doors and. That's why we kind of read.
Yeah, I think we get some of this from. I got 2 tornadoes in the valley too, so.
No?
The valley. Yeah.
Okay.
1980 and 1920.
Oh,
Or
yeah?
2020.
Absolutely.
So I don't think mile apart.
Really?
Only 2 farms that had hit either time in the valley, and I. What year? Very slim. Yeah.
We doing something.
Let's watch it.
I really want to replace that building.
Getting that 25%.
Yeah, it took a lot of the small older buildings, you know.
Last year, yeah. But this year, I keep an eye on you got.
Yeah, yeah. Boy.
When we jumped forward, then quite a lot. We can. And that was
Realize that's on the garage side for cat.
wow, beautiful for up that island. We could drive over a bump.
Living in the garage.
In town?
Yeah.
Okay, now I know. Just check.
He showed me how he put the soil. It's part of his garage. And I thought, that's pretty amazing. So I didn't think of it. He said he's sick of getting out, walking out of the garage and going over to Dad's house. Over the valley. Gotta make something. So it's in. His neighbor kids all came and built on last year. It's gonna have to have. Or
We were waiting.
Sure.
find out was which. Yeah.
So I mean, I thought that was right.
Oh.
My penmanship is never good, it wasn't that.
The next one we take it out would be a lot more.
Yeah.
Actually, that's built, it took a few couple years. Really?
Yeah. 'Cause it always- You work. on
There you
it,
go.
you
Thank
get
you.
Distracted and go side. And you actually solved the first one and then you created the problem. The second one.
Got a zoning meeting.
I never answered.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I can. Oh, I didn't.
Yeah. Good for 20 years. That was,
I'd like to be down there. We never did.
I guess I got one of them here, but it didn't pay a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's here.
We did it almost blowing off the top.
Sure.
Like I know there were a few times it did.
Okay, so I get 1, 2, and 3 participants.
Just the regular.
Do all of the building permits that you issue or the planning commission approve, do they all go through the commissioners?
No,
No, okay,
it would be the conditional use permits, the interim use permits. That type of thing that would go through the board. of commissioners.
okay.
And then obviously stuff.
No, I know.
Well, yeah, no, if it's a regular permit. This is where the term gets strange. Is that some things are considered permitted. And those actually don't get. So they'll get just a building. permit. So, and then, so if you can meet some of those locational criteria, then that's all you have to have. Sadly, a lot of times they don't. And so you end up with either a variance. Something, that's the way they use the kind of the carrot and stick kind of, it's like you want that permit, well, then you gotta address any outstanding.
Sounds like a stick to me.
Oh, yeah.
For the carrot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The good or bad.
The goal is coming in and fight you guys.
Oh, well, yeah,
Yeah,
2 months ago, we had a,
he was here.
yeah. I wouldn't exactly call that love.
So if a township ever says no to a variance, why would we go against the township? Or shouldn't that even,
Well,
should it even be brought in if the township is against it?
Yeah, I was
Well-
surprised the county didn't have anything to say about that. 'Cause they were gonna make that closer to a township line or a road. In Yuba Town, we had them, where they both put a separate house up right next to a township road, which in the township right. We made them take it out.
If you had the township and for some reason or other, they really had it in for this person, they might deny it, where when you got a board like you have here, you look at everything. That's my answer to that.
well, I mean,
Not saying it would,
everybody's allowed to.
right,
And I think in the comment. The part would be. What are you finding that we're not seeing? That we certainly should be looking. And then it'd be like, okay, we'll go back and look at it. So, as far as that goes, if on the other hand, it's, I don't like this person.
reason for that, But like, every issue usually has at least a couple valid viewpoints. You don't all agree. And they're valid.
I had a guy one time that called and said, he put that fence in there 5 years ago. I knew it wasn't right, but I didn't mind it then, but I don't get along with him now. So I'm gonna tell him to get it out.
well, when I was on the
Yeah.
Yeah, I think well, and then you get a different property owner all of a sudden, it's a whole different problem.
Yeah. Do they have a legitimate issue or is it just a grudge?
Well, when I was supervisor on the town board, we had a person that built a house on the old Yucatan Cemetery. And I wasn't very happy about it. Well, I had the zoning administrator come to our meeting. And I wasn't very polite to him either, but it didn't change the fact. And he got the building permit after the house was built. On the old
That's
Yucatan
always
cemetery. And that still bothers me because I'm in charge of the new one. Well, it isn't new, but I mean for 40 years or more. Well, I know what you're saying about some of this stuff.
Okay, it's 5:40. Next one up is John Yeagley. Okay,
We'll go.
Martin, you want to read the hearing notice?
Notice of public hearing, please take notice that an application was received from the following persons for a variance of ordinance requirement. John Yaley, part of the northern half of the southeast quarter, part of the southern half of the section 35, township 103, range 4, county Minnesota, parcel 0201900000, Brownsville Township, variance to reduce side yard setback for an after the fact deck. Section 14.8 subdivision 1. Hearing on this application will be held at the Houston County Commission meeting, City of Caledonia, Minnesota at 5:40 p.m. on Thursday, September 28, 2023. All persons having an interest in the matter will be given the opportunity to submit comments relative to the granting or denying of said application. Comments should be emailed to the Environmental Services Department, 304 South Marshall Street, Caledonia, Minnesota 55921, or email to martin.herrick@co.houston.mn.us. Must be received by Wednesday, September 20th, 2023. Comments in regard to the petition received by this date will be part of the public record and will be made available for review by the Board of Adjustment prior to the meeting. Houston County Board of Adjustment by Martin Herrick.
Okay, so John, want us to have a seat? Okay. Tell us what you're doing, what your plans?
I get a lot of requests in that house. It's a rental. I grew up in it. It was my mother's house. And I get a lot of requests for, handicap access. Don't have it. My mother, in fact, did have Parkinson's disease there for several years, and with a stair lift and all that, it's just, it doesn't work out very good. And honestly, I think that my last 10 years may be spent there. So that's kind of the plan. And then the driveway would go up there. That eliminates the coming from the downstairs.
Okay. Board, any questions?
We're dealing with the side yard setback. Is there any closest buildings, are any close buildings to that area on neighboring
We
property?
need to do this. Amelia, put this
That's what-
together.
Yeah,
I can explain.
okay.
Yep, that's it. What, this house is a lot of records. It was in place prior.
To zoning, I
to
saw that.
zoning occurred.
Yep.
And so that does play into this just a little bit. And so what he's certainly proposing is the deck that on the side and a set of steps coming up to it. And so it's, we worked out the distance on it, and you can see that it's about 18. I took it down to 17 to give you more of a margin.
Yep.
And then what I'm doing is I'm subtracting from that, so the variance would be 33 feet. So, and with that, we feel pretty comfortable that it's within the limits of where the setback would be for a side yard today, which would be.
So what's this after the fact deck?
Basically, the after the fact is we started before you had.
So what happens then? Do you
It's
have to pay a penalty?
It's triple fee on that any year. It's been good work. It's been no.
Honestly, didn't know I needed a permit. I grew up there and I never would have thought of that on a deck.
Okay, any more questions from the board? All right, any questions from the public? Okay, come back to questions from the board. The general discussion.
You're really realistically like a residential side yard setback, and it's not too far different.
The residential versus the ag protection.
Ag protected, I mean, that's,
Residential is better.
Hmm?
The residential is less.
yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
We're not far from what that would realistically be.
It is, it's still in ag protection.
Right, I realize.
One of the things we've certainly taken a look at is, if we had some time, is there's some of those areas that probably should be, rezoned over to being into residential as opposed to being in ag protection.
They don't look like they're right on Beacon either. They're offset by one
Oh,
and a
I
half
know.
properties.
Oh, yeah,
We
no,
know, we have,
the property line, the map on Beacon is off.
Yeah.
And that's
And
that's being generous.
they've got a disclaimer on it too, saying that you can't use it for legal process.
Right, I sure didn't either. I know the property.
Yeah, I mean,
And then the closest part of anything that we're gonna do would be the driveway. So we're gonna come up an existing driveway that our neighbors right next to us there have an easement on. We're not gonna go on across the property line with that. The closest that swing will come is 8 feet
mhm,
from the property line.
okay,
And then so we have, I think it's 12 feet to the deck yet.
mhm.
So I made a real generous driveway spacing in case they got offset or whatever. At least what I'm saying is what it's gonna be at least.
Yeah, right. Initially, we were thinking that you can do a driveway.
Yeah. And now that we wanna pave that, if that goes through, now they wanna pave the rest of theirs up on top too, so. They're third generation there. These people are family to us, so. It's a pretty good
Okay,
arrangement.
any other general discussion? From the board?
it sounds like, but the process we like to see is refurbishing the existing building. To make it work.
Okay, let's review the findings of the fact.
Okay, number one, variance request is in harmony with the intent and purpose of official controls. Staff analysis dwellings are allowed in a protection district. The upgrades assist in the continued use of the parcel.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Number two, there are practical difficulties in complying with the official controls and the proposed use of the property is reasonable. Economic considerations alone do not constitute practical difficulties. Staff analysis, creating a larger setback between the deck and the property line would involve the acquisition of additional land, which necessitates a willing seller.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Carries.
Number three, the variance request is due to special conditions or circumstances unique to the property and not created by the property owner. Staff analysis, the parcel is a lot of record which has a restricted lot size, which is a special condition not created by the property owner.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Carries.
Number four, the variances cannot be alleviated by a reasonable method other than a variance of minimum variance, which would alleviate the practical difficulty is sought. Staff analysis, the board may find that the variance related to the side yard setback is the only way to feasibly resolve the setback issue. That the variance to the side yard setback is the minimum variance that would alleviate the practical difficulty of limited buildable space on the property.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Carries.
Number five, the variances will not alter the essential character of the locality nor substantially impair property values or the public health, safety, or welfare of the vicinity. Staff analysis, granting the variance will not have a negative impact on the criteria listed.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Number six, the request is not a use variance and shall not have the effect of allowing any use that is not allowed in the zoning district. Permit a lower degree of flood protection than the regulatory flood protection elevation, or permit standards lower than those required by Minnesota state laws.
All in favor, say
Wait,
aye.
wait.
I've got to staff analysis. Yeah,
So,
staff analysis, the granting of the variance to the side yard setback requirement in the agricultural protection district does not conflict with any restricted uses. There is no map floodplain on the parcel. There are no known state standards applicable to the request.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Okay,
I move we accept the findings.
Second.
Okay,
yep, roll call.
Ken Vister.
Aye.
And
Aye.
Wayne Running.
Aye.
Franklin Hahn.
Aye.
Larry Haff.
Aye.
Okay, any further discussions? Well, it's,
Well, I read the-
Read what you would recommend as a variance.
Okay, so we originally had 36 feet as our recommendation after we went through this. dial it down a little bit, it's variance of 33 feet to reduce side yard setback requirement to the south property line. is brought to the house.
So move.
Second,
I'll do a roll call. Ken Visser.
Aye.
Ken Anderson.
Aye.
Ken Flanagan. Aye. Franklin Hines.
Uh,
Very happy.
aye,
Congratulations, you did receive your variance.
Thank you, fellas.
So you get the rest of it. We'll-
No good time to ask, what the back setback is.
In the ag protection district, which uses 50 feet. But you're allowed a record. Excuse me. The rules didn't apply to you as much as they do to. Okay, worst case would be 50 feet. If you need 50 feet, you're great. If the fact that you're allowed a record potentially could mean that it hardly applies at all. So that part of that is still in effect.
You mean to build anything?
Well, no,
If the existing building,
Shed,
Oh, no, sorry, no, not that, just in terms of the setback, what the setback. We have to take a look at that.
cross that. we can get that.
Okay.
The first case is 50.
Okay. Thanks, fellas.
Question for you, Martin. You made the statement that it's more advantageous if it's residential land versus ag land.
Oh, just in terms of setback, not.
Oh, just setback.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
no, I wasn't
Okay.
making anything like that, no, it's just that the numbers are better for the.
Well, see, I was gonna get my ag land transferred over. Yeah, I was always thinking.
yeah, I think the side setback is about, it's 15.
Probably get up in the
It's 15.
Residential.
15 years.
Yeah. And then you can have multiple ones in the same quarter, right?
Sorry, I was.
Multiple in the same quarter.
That one can get in. When you get into the.
Because, I mean, I'm sure they are, that's the way they are, a lot.
Effectively, they are.
Create a
Effectively,
residential
because-
district, I mean, you should,
Because, but that really isn't, I mean,
because it's for ag zone only that the quarter applies, I believe.
yes, basically for in that area. It doesn't apply to the residential district.
But to get that, then you have to have go to the planning commission.
You're looking at
Create that.
either a rezone or
Right.
potentially a subdevelopment.
Right.
Zone type situation, so.
So I know a guy that had 40 acres and had them split into 10 acre, and split into 10-acre parcels. Are they eligible to be built?
If he went through the subdevelopment process, he could,
And that is involves,
that's a lot of work.
I don't think that happened.
I could be wrong and I no doubt am, but I thought you could make a subdivision if you were within 2 miles of a plotted city.
There's that, there is that. That's a goal of the comprehensive land use plan, that talks about the reach of a city in terms of their long-term planning on how far they can look out. And yeah, well, La Crescent is 2 miles. Some will vary, but a lot of them are. And that's from the farthest point going straight.
We've had some divisions that have been probably way back, up in the 80s, 70s or 80s were done. We're probably not the same restrictions, but there was one along Highway 76 that was broke up and he was going to sell a whole bunch of property. Only one person built.
if they did.
Well, I don't
But
know
Nine
how
Oaks was
long.
created as a subdivision by Spring Road. That's,
We get a call on the Spring Grove one about every 6 weeks. I think the realtors are finally catching. When it's, this doesn't apply, because they, well, I heard that would be.
Let's keep this going.
Yeah.
I would imagine before there was any ordinances, I'm talking 75 years ago, if there was any. There may have been some of that done then, I don't know.
Planning's been around, I mean, it depended on, the thing you had to have buy-in. from A lot of people, and sometimes that, you didn't get that. Or somebody owned the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, when I built my shed, my machine shed on the ridge, they told me that all you gotta do is get a variance, stay 65 feet in the center of the public road and 50 feet from the property line. And I thought, well, I want to spend that kind of money. Now I wish they didn't get the variance because I parked machine here on my shed. So I got some room. If I would have moved it closer to the property line, I'd be restricted. So sometimes some variances are a minus instead of a plus.
No, afterwards.
Oh, we got another one after that?
No.
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 No, planning
Oh,
to
you're, yeah, 6:30.
gets a hang around that way.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, drink coffee. You can call in the catering. Supper.
Maybe.
Well, you don't call it supper, well, you're telling you call it dinner, I call it
No,
supper.
breakfast,
Dinner and
dinner,
supper.
supper.
You're old enough,
Oh, yeah.
and I do that. It's kids, you know, while our grandkids and whatnot, like breakfast. Oh, no, we're having dinner. You know, I knew it.
Yeah. Breakfast, dinner and supper.
Yep, that's what I always went by.
Yep, and when you get home, you change out of your good clothes.
Yep,
I work your everyday clothes.
I worked for my uncle before I went over to Korea. When I was in high school. We got up and started milking at 5 in the morning, so we're done milking. And we had supper. Had breakfast. And Bolster. And at 9:30, he had to have to move on. And if we worked in the field, his wife would drive to where we were. Like 40 lunch. 11:30, we had dinner. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, she would drive us home. I'm serious.
Really?
And 6:30 at night, we were done with chores because we toured early in the morning. We was up. Back, way back, like.
That's the way they say you should be.
Yeah. Just a little bit.
Yeah. I don't have two full meals.
We had, we, the trash and shred, you know, all the neighbors got together. Little silo and all with the bundles and stuff. Oh my
Had that's the one for these. Big long valve.
God. Yeah. Most of when I started hauling bundles. Yeah, the horse, we used horses. Yeah, I sometimes wonder what little changes I've made in my lifetime. Is there gonna be that many changes in the next 50, 60 years? It's getting all computerized. The younger generation, nothing against them, but that's what they're being taught and running. And what the government is after. They want to spread it all. They want. And then when time for income tax comes, they'll go right to your account and take out what you were putting. They tried it in the 80s and it flopped. It won't happen in my lifetime, but it will. Once you get rid of cash.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And everybody
They
wants
would-
direct deposit.
They would love to. Everybody. Well, I can just take out when I think I should ask.
Yeah.
That'd be most of us.
That's right.
Okay, we better wind up this last one and get home for the Packer game.
Well said.
So we have
I don't need that.
Joseph Gardner, Oka Township.
Also, no roll call if we're good there. Okay, notice of public hearing. Please take notice that an application was received from the following persons for a variance of ordinance requirements. Joseph Gardner, southeast quarter, southwest quarter, southwest quarter, southeast quarter, section 2, township 103, Grange 4, Houston County, Minnesota, parcel 0500110001. Oka Township, variance to reduce state highway setback for an existing building, section 14.7, subdivision 1. The hearing on this application will be held at the Houston County Commissioners Room, City of Caledonia, Minnesota, at 6 p.m. on Thursday, September 28th, 2023. All persons having an interest in the matter will be given the opportunity to submit comments relative to the granting or denying of said application. Comments should be mailed to the Environmental Services Department, 304 South Marshall Street, Caledonia, Minnesota, 55921, or emailed to martin.herrick@co.houston.mn.us. Must be received by Wednesday, September 20th, 2023. Comments in regard to the petition received by this date will be part of the public record and will be made available for review by the Board of Adjustment prior to the meeting. Houston County Board of Adjustment by Martin Herrick, zoning administrator.
Okay, Joseph, would you like to come up and put your case?
I guess I need to get a variance for a building that's been there for 25 years. The building's already been there, so. I guess I don't know why I would have to get a variance if the other guy built it when he had to get a variance, but
But was it a house?
it was a garage
Okay, so you're remodeling the
Yeah.
garage
into a home,
house.
yeah, into a mini home.
Okay. Anything else? All right, board, any questions?
So you're making a garage into a house,
Yeah,
you know, I'm just asking a hypothetical question. Does he have to get a permit to do that?
Yes, and that's. gonna
That's
be
where this
what
came
these guys-
about? I saw that on the.
Yeah.
Okay,
This will go to the planning commission for additional use.
So any other questions?
Basically, all we're dealing with is a setback from the highway.
Right.
There was an existing house on this property that burned.
it burned and I tore it down.
Right.
This summer.
And they did the
Comments from the
garage.
State Highway Department.
Say it again.
Any comments from the State Highway Department?
Did you measure that with a steel tape?
It was basically just Amelia took a peek. With the 10 feet from the center.
Okay,
This garage is, like you said, been there for many years. I drive by it a lot. It's been there for
2002, I think it was built.
so it's on 26. Where both is that on 26? By Brownsville?
It's after
Brownsville.
Lawrence Lake, towards like Miller's Corner there. Right before you turn on the road to go to Hoka.
Okay,
4-7.
all right. Any other questions from the board? Okay, is there any public comments about this?
well, this here, these other 5 houses, then that come in the quarter, that is. What it says here is that because it's close enough to a plotted city or something.
The situation gets into the idea of the conformance issues and what was there before, and is that use allowed to continue? So how Amelia laid it out, in terms of the 6 criteria that go along, and that gets into the conditional use permit, what we certainly put it in here, that gets at, is it allowed to continue? And that's where the use is from the previous one burning down,
Mhm.
and then the sequence of events that occurred from that. And there was some consideration for COVID. The timing of things the last couple of years has been maybe tough.
We're just dealing with the setback.
Correct.
We're just here to deal with the setback.
Right.
Yep.
Do we allow that?
Okay, any other? Oh, we got a public comment.
How far do they do, 5 feet?
And
On the variance? You know, done by Google?
Beacon,
Think I would have a limitation, yeah, to say this man maybe $500.
well, we did waive the fee. I won't-
On the conditional use.
Which was the bigger one.
The $700. Yeah, I believe this one is 5.
Okay, is there any more discussion? About the. Road variance? Okay, let's review findings of the fact.
Number one, the variance request is in harmony with the intent and purpose of the official controls. Staff analysis, variance to the highway setback is an area variance allowed by the.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Number two, there are practical difficulties in complying with the official controls when the proposed use of the property is reasonable. Economic considerations alone do not constitute practical difficulties. Staff analysis, this is an existing structure and at this point it cannot be relocated. Variance is the only practical means to bring the parcel to compliance.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Number three, the variance request is due to special conditions or circumstances unique to the property, not created by the property owner. Staff analysis, the applicant recently purchased this property and the non-compliant building was constructed in 2002. He would like to improve the property, but must bring it into compliance before new permits can be issued.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Number four, the variance cannot be alleviated by a reasonable method other than a variance, and the minimum variance which would alleviate the practical difficulty is sought. Staff analysis, at this point, the building cannot be relocated. It has existed in this location for 20 years with no issue.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Number five, the variance will not alter the essential character of the locality nor substantially impair property values or the public health, safety, or welfare in the vicinity. Staff analysis, this area is surrounded by residentially zoned areas and improvement of this parcel will likely improve neighboring property values. Since this parcel has been a single family dwelling in the past, it will not alter the essential character of the locality.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Number six, the request is not a use variance and shall not have the effect of allowing any use that is not allowed in the zoning district, permit a lower degree of flood protection than the regulatory flood protection elevation, or permit standards lower than those required by the state law. Staff analysis, a highway setback is an area variance, and this variance will not facilitate a use not allowed in the zoning district.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
The findings.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Want to do a roll call?
Roll call.
Ken Brisker.
Aye.
Ken Anderson.
Aye.
Ken Flanagan.
Aye.
Franklin Hahn.
Aye.
Larry Haff.
Aye.
Okay, any more general discussion on this? Is there,
The recommendation. Are we going to do that?
yeah,
Okay. Proposed motion to grant the variance of 10 feet to meet the 130-foot state highway setback.
so moved.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Ken Brisker.
Aye.
Ken Anderson.
Aye.
Ken Flanagan.
Aye.
Franklin Hahn.
Aye.
Larry Haff.
Aye.
Well, you got a variance.
Thank you, guys.
Mhm.
We never could figure out what happened. The house was starting to go up or we fixed it and it disappeared.
Yeah, they let it sit too long and everyone in the area calls it the haunted house. So everyone was glad it's gone. And it was full of snakes.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
What kind?
all kinds. It's
Well-
three rattlers, a lot of big bull snakes were in there,
Oh, geez, what a shame.
all kinds of rat snakes. There was just every time you move something, snakes would come.
Oh, that's the big one.
They're, they're still around.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
but a lot of them got put in the dumpsters when they got hauled out.
Oh, those
Good riddance.
lost 3 dogs.
And Tommy, the guy that tore it down, he had to put this lid down because they were falling out of his bucket and he didn't want one falling in the cab of his backhoe, so. Been quite the experience.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. You got your job. You got your job set up for you. Have fun.
We do the next time anyway.
We didn't do that. Motion
It
to
will be
adjourn.
to adjourn.
Yeah,
let's do that.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
one you don't want to fail